Welcome back to another episode of STL Real Estate Roundtable. I'm your host, Jaden Barr, CEO and team leader of Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield. And today I'm joined by some very special guests, Haley Spencer and Brooke Heuring. Thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time out of your day to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive right in. So what led you two to start a career in real estate?
So I got into business first. I graduated with a hospitality management degree from Southeast. So I always had loved just working with people and kind of problem solving. Got married after graduating probably 5 years later and moved to St. Louis. And not being from the area, I kind of had the opportunity to do whatever I wanted. I was substitute teaching, and had made some friends, but obviously was trying to figure out more of a career goal. I had a friend that just said, hey, you're off during the summer, take the test. So I went to real estate school and took the test, and here I am.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I was doing a little bit of like the administrative work, marketing for her, and she just kind of presented the idea of getting my license. She said, well, let's actually just really make this a thing. We've always worked together. She ran the front of a golf course and asked me after I graduated from high school to work with her there. So we just are a duo and always have been.
That's awesome.
So
if y'all can tell, they're sisters, right? So talk about kind of that dynamic of working together and kind of what that's looked like throughout, I'm assuming, your whole life.
Pretty much.
I've known her my whole life.
Yeah. So because we have worked with each other for, I would say, going on 15 years, we kind of know exactly how the other one works. So for myself, if I was ever going to ask somebody to be on a team or work with me, I wanted it to be somebody that I didn't have to monitor. I kind of just knew automatically that she'd handle things the same way that I did. So it was kind of a no-brainer that I already knew how she worked previously, and we did great together. So it's kind of just hey, I need you to do this so we can continue that.
There are a lot of times we're in group messages with our clients, and literally seconds after, we'll say the exact same thing. And it's like, okay, yeah, glad we had the same thought. So,
or get out of my brain.
Yeah. That's a lot of it as well.
Yeah. Now, do you have differing work styles, or is it pretty similar with kind of how you go about your work?
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever thought about it. I would say you're probably a little bit more, I don't want to say structured, but I kind of think so. I feel I feel like compared to me sometimes, I feel like I'm very much like, she kind of hones us in and puts things into place, whereas I'm like, we can do it all.
Oh, yeah.
And we really can't.
Yeah, we typically will write together to the office or, sometimes to showings. And that's where our meetings are mostly,
Podcast.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we did, right? Yes, we're here together. That's where we do a lot of our planning and what we want to do for the year, what our days look like or what our weeks look like. So I really appreciate you thinking that I understood that. Yeah.
So you said you're not from St. Louis.
No.
So you don't have to answer what high school did you go to?
Oh, yeah.
But moving up here, we didn't realize how big of a thing that was.
Yeah.
So whenever we would say Notre Dame, would be like Cape Notre Dame, because it's a big thing up here. We didn't know.
So we're originally from Cape Girardeau.
Cape Girardeau.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And getting acclimated to the St. Louis real estate market, where do you primarily sell help with clients right now?
So my husband and I live in Festus, and Brooke and her husband live in Herculaneum. So we typically do about an hour radius. So we've got some listings in Cape Girardeau, and then we show property up in St. Charles and O'Fallon. Yeah. So because we're together, the car rides aren't terrible.
Right.
So that I think makes a huge difference.
Down.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes we don't really listen to music, though, unless we're by ourselves. Her and I have enough to fill a ride. We solve all the world's problems.
We do.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so looking at the kind of the business that you built in real estate, what would have been the keys to success so far? Do you think?
I would say for me, starting out, mine is not comparing myself. From the very beginning, walking onto a team of her being very successful by herself, it was very easy for me to compare myself coming into that. So I think, that was my biggest thing. Even with other agents, not to compare, But with her, she was so successful and I was brand new to it and so nervous.
Yeah, right when COVID, I mean, you literally talked you into getting your license and then COVID hit and nothing was normal. So I couldn't even guide you that it was something I didn't know either, so nothing was norm for you even to be able to somewhat have an idea.
Yeah.
Being a hospitality management major and growing up like in a very close-knit family, volunteering was always like a very big part of us growing up. And so I think for myself, I always knew I wanted to build my business based on people truly getting to know me and wanting to do business with me because they knew I was authentic. So I would say, not treating people like a transaction, but really building that relationship has been truly what we've built our business on.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you get your real estate license, and then did business just explode right away? Like what has been kind of the trajectory of your career up until this point?
So
it's all been sunshine and rainbows, right? Like there's not been any struggle, no challenges.
Nothing.
You can just cut the podcast right here.
Yep, done.
Okay.
I would say not being from the area, obviously you have to get your name out there.
Yeah.
So I very actively tried to get involved with like different like mom groups or teaching groups. And so I think really it was just putting myself out in those groups and in the community to be able to see like if there was any type of volunteering activity so people could get to know me. Because not being from here, I couldn't rely on high school friends. I couldn't rely on, college friends from up here. So it was really kind of starting from scratch on making friends, to be honest with you.
And I just went along with her on the volunteering side.
Like,
so we were just a pair.
I just see what she does.
Yeah, and I think it's super easy because, having a sister and a teammate, like it makes it just easier to be able to put yourself out there. Yeah, conversations are easier, meeting people are easier. So I feel like that aspect of it, works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hospitality background, right? So all about caring, servicing others, right?
Yep.
That's what real estate's about.
Absolutely.
Caring for clients, serving people, right? What do you think have been some of the challenges of, being a business owner, being in a market that's constantly changing? Like we've faced a lot of changes in the industry lately, right? So what have been some of the challenging aspects of that?
To me, I think it's just delivering the bad news, to be honest. I mean, especially through COVID, there were a lot of offers that we wrote that another offer beat them out, and it could have been very defeating. So for me, I always like to be the positive, or we both like to be the positive one, but, staying positive in such a defeating market was hard. So I think delivering the bad news and delivering news that necessarily your clients don't want to hear is very challenging.
I agree. And I think piggybacking off that, during COVID, post-COVID, almost becoming, I don't want to say making us non-emotional through the process, but like truly we'll come up to our clients and during, buyer or listing presentations say, you're hiring us to be that sounding board. So like for us, you guys can have all the emotion. If we get emotional with you, that defeats the purpose. So like you all be emotional and we're going to problem solve. So I think in the beginning, the first couple of years, I really internalized a lot of that. Like I wanted to solve every problem myself.
It weighs on you.
It does. So I think, with all the chaos of COVID, that was really kind of eye-opening of like, you can only control what you can control. I'm going to be that person that delivers it. Let's problem solve, but I don't have to wear all of it on my shoulders. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge in figuring out how to navigate that.
Yeah, I had a college coach. He would say, be a thermostat, not a thermometer.
Oh, I like
right?
that. Yeah.
So I think that goes along.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You control the temperature in the room. You're not, too high, too low. You're just even.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things that can go wrong over the course of a transaction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all want to get
you're cool during this time.
And we all want to get to the closing table. Like what you can always tell sometimes when agents are more emotionally invested than probably what they should be, because it's like, we're just having a conversation. Like we want to get to the closing table as much as you do. Like
I'll have the same goal.
Yeah. Let's problem solve here.
So same goal.
Yes.
Yeah. What have been kind of what's the vision or the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goal for the team here? Do you have anything in mind?
Lots in mind.
Yeah. Wait, what problems are we solving on those car rides together? Like,
You can go. We're probably the one
Give us
losing
an
that.
inside look.
Well, I think one of our favorite things is like the client-based things, whether that's pop buys or our events. So a lot of our discussions are like how we can make those things bigger, better each year. Because truly, you know, we get text messages or Facebook messages saying like how much they appreciate the pop by, or we had an Easter event, you know, and we still have people that will message us, you know, that their kiddos are talking about something, or when do we plan on having it, because they like to put it on the book next year. So like, I think us trying to get bigger and not necessarily bigger, but better each year for our clients to enjoy, like that's one of our biggest goals.
Yeah. And I would say just getting like our systems in place, like truly when I got in the business, I was very fortunate and kind of hit the ground running. And so because being new, I didn't really have the time, because I don't want to say was successful, but I had transactions that were happening. I didn't take the time to actually put systems into place. So I would say probably systemizing a lot of things would make it easier. So that could be a year goal. Mark it down.
Yeah. We'll talk on the way home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Systems are huge. I think a lot of agents struggle with that because we are entrepreneurial. Like we're go, go, go. We've got a ton of ideas and look, squirrel, right?
Oh my God.
It's very easy to get distracted by shiny objects, right?
Yes.
And not keep the main thing.
Yep.
So
That is so true.
yeah. Family is really important to both of you. I know that from your social media, right?
Yes.
So this is an industry, I think a lot of agents that are selling a lot of real estate that are busy, right? We can fall into the trap of working 24/7. There's always something that we could be working on, right? Which is a struggle as just an entrepreneur, I think.
Yeah.
So how do you find that work-life balance? What are some things that you do to make sure that family stays a priority?
The last couple of years have not been great at it. Just more so my type of personality would be like workaholic. So I'm trying to be mindful of that, knowing, like really kind of diving into the way that my personality works and being aware of that. So a lot of times at night, I've started shutting my phone off for just a little bit when my kids get home, and then we can get home from school. We can get in a routine. Also realizing that we're probably never going to have a balance, but it's going to be more of like a shift. So depending on what's going on, my daughter Lottie just started kindergarten this past year. So I was heavily involved in her school, and that became a priority. And if I enjoy going to networking events. I missed a lot of networking events because one specific event happened every Tuesday. And I had made up my mind that I was going to attend church with her every Tuesday. And unless I was on vacation, I didn't miss. So I think for myself 5 years ago, that would have been like, it would have stressed me out thinking I was putting that above business. But I think really starting to realize that my kids are only going to be little once, and that's important for me to be present with them, because I want them to want to hang out with me when I'm older. Like that I didn't work all their childhood away, so they don't really know me. So.
Well, I got into the business, like Haley said, right before COVID. So there was a lot of showings going on. So at the time, he was my fiance, but now husband, he would go to showings with me and hold open houses. So that was kind of like our dates on the weekends. He was very heavily involved as well. Let's mind up something on that. But now that I have a daughter, she'll be 2 in August. I don't necessarily answer text or phone calls before I drop her off before school. One, that's hectic in the morning anyway.
Yeah.
But there was one time where I was trying to write a contract before I dropped her off, and it was just chaos. So that's whenever I decided, and until she is dropped off at school, real estate can wait. I need that time with her in the morning.
As well as everything, I had to shift my mindset that everything doesn't have to be answered like the second that a text message is sent. Like I was very much like, if I don't answer within 2 minutes, they're going to think I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and that was like my perspective is like, I thought, our clients have to realize that we're human because we have families and we have things going on as well. Like we're not robots. And I think that that's kind of also what makes us personable is like us being human and very real with our clients to know that like we have families and that we have lives as well.
Yeah. I think it just comes back to like setting expectations, right? With clients.
Absolutely.
And who you are is who you attract. I firmly believe that. So like if, I'm an agent with a family that, I prioritize, time with my wife and my kid and, then I think others are going to see that, and they're going to be understanding whenever I say, hey, if you call me at 8 p.m. at night, sorry, I might be getting back to you the next morning.
Yeah.
Right? And
Absolutely.
yeah. So, okay. So what do you think has, like, why did people choose to work with y'all?
Because we're great.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
End of conversation.
That's it. There we go.
I'm speechless.
That's it. It's funny because, I think there's been, with the changes in the industry, right? I think some people don't understand the value that a good real estate agent can bring to a transaction. And by all means, there are agents out there that are not worth a dime, right? Because it's such a low barrier. And it's sorry to that, right? But it's true. Like there's a very low barrier to entry to this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of agents that don't take it seriously, that don't treat their business like a business, and it shows. And so who you hire matters. And
absolutely.
I think with the changes in the industry, it's challenged us as agents to really know our value and be able to like speak to that, right?
Absolutely.
What the value is that we bring to the clients that choose to work with us, because they could choose to work with any of the 1,000 agents that are out there, right? But they choose to work with us. So, there's one agent that said, I'm nice. And I'm like, that's an awesome value proposition, right? Yeah. Because there are agents out there that are not nice.
Oh, yes.
And so
oh my God.
It's interesting just to hear people's perspective on like, what value they know that they bring to the transaction, which y'all said fun, which is awesome. Like people should enjoy the experience in working with you, right?
I would say our end goal is, we always say, even when the transaction is done, you're not going to lose us. So we always say from the get-go, like, you don't know it yet, but you're going to be our friend. So it's like, I don't know what word that would encompass, but we always basically want to make our clients be lifelong friends and be invited to all of their special events. I mean, I can't tell you how many weddings, baby showers, birthdays, like with
July
people.
events, just fun stuff like that we're included in because of real estate. Yeah.
So I guess making you feel important enough that it wasn't just a transaction, that you legit want to be friends with us because we made you feel good.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be whatever word that would be.
Yeah.
And we're not necessarily like pushy or pressure you. If we've seen 10 homes and that's not for you, like we understand that it's a big purchase. So, we're never going to push you into something that you're not comfortable with. We want you to love your home too. So
absolutely.
So I'm interested in your perspective on this. You're working in Festus, Herculaneum, right? Smaller markets, right? Probably not as much inventory, not as many homes, right? So how do you become like the local celebrity in a smaller market? How do you set yourself apart? And what are maybe some of the and maybe what are some of like the challenges of that?
I would say that.
Or are you like, this is just a cakewalk? It's easy.
Oh yeah.
Just be awesome.
We should actually be leading this podcast.
Yeah.
Just didn't know yet.
Start asking me questions.
I'll take your seat. I would say with it being, we're fortunate in the fact that we can travel anywhere, but that our sweet spot would, I guess, kind of be what we consider home. But we're so highly involved in everything, whether it's like different networking events or different groups or church or volleyball, anything like that. I feel like that's probably been like our biggest way for referrals, or if somebody needs a painter or somebody like that. So I feel like we've
built our community.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, like the first little bit of like actually going to Walmart and knowing people, because when we were from Cape, you could run into somebody at any store you went to. Well, if you're not from somewhere, you don't know anybody. Yeah. So, when my husband and I would go to Walmart, he'd be like, wow, a couple of people or whatever. And I'm like, I know, like we're making our community here now. So it's a cool feeling, of not being here, but having a community that supports us.
And building it as an adult, like that you weren't, like being from Cape, our entire family was from there. So it was like we automatically fell in line because whoever knew mom and dad. Well, here, nobody knew us. So like we truly were building friendships and business and relationships all based off of like who we were as adults. So I think that also is one of the biggest things.
Yeah. It's important because our mom has a very like core group of friends that are like second moms to us. And I think that's what we both want for our kiddos and just like second families up here. So that's definitely been a goal, and has also, you know, been successful for our business as well, just creating those relationships.
Yeah. Business is all about relationships, right?
Absolutely.
People that know, like, and trust you.
Yep.
What question have I not asked you that I should be asking?
I don't know. You had some really good
Put you on the
questions.
spot.
I know.
Honestly, like, I love being the one that asks people questions. So whenever like I'm the one being asked questions, I'm like put on the spot. You know? So like I'm always the one that's questions about their life. So I really don't know.
What are some questions that other people have asked you?
What's the strangest thing you've seen on a showing, or the craziest showing experience?
I will say not necessarily the craziest thing, but I forgot if you were on your friend's trip. Like I had just gotten, I don't know, for like the first 3 or 4 months, I wasn't part of the board or something. So I truly couldn't show property. Well, then we discussed, you know, like if I'm going to be on the team, this is how it's going to benefit us. So she went to Mexico with her friends, and I had not met these clients yet. And it was through COVID. And so there were multiple showings. So do you know where I'm going with this?
I think so.
Okay. So I'm nervous anyway. And I open the door and I'm like, hi, I'm Brooke. Like, I'm on the Haley Spencer team. Like, it's great to meet you. And like, I get this look, and it's because I've just introduced to another agent and her client, not even the people I was showing, because she didn't know. I didn't know who they like met us the first time. Yeah. And she was like, I'm like, okay. I'm like, next. Yeah.
I would say, what about the time when we showed up and there was like 30 chickens and there was turkeys and like ponies and a llama, alpaca or whatever. Yeah, but nothing was caged in. And we like pulled up, and I had just had my son, so he was like a week old, and we went for photos. Yeah. And this entire farm of animals just swarmed us.
Petting zoo? Just running wild.
He was in his little pumpkin seat. He like looked at me because I got out on the passenger side and he was behind me. So I just grabbed him, and she like looked at me. She's like, "Do not put him down." And I was
because they were chickens and roosters and turkeys were everywhere.
Yeah, they were. I actually forgot it.
So I would say probably that. No, I'm sure on our way home we'll have like, we should have said that. We should have said that.
And we'll video record it and we'll send you.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll pass it. Yeah. What advice would you give to agents that are watching this, that are aspiring to get to the level that you're at?
I would always say service above sales, and whatever that means to you as an agent. People can definitely tell when you're not authentic. And I think that the people longevity wise, I always say I'm in it for the long game. So in order to do that, it's building relationships. So I would say giving of yourself within reason, but for people to never feel like they're a transaction.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. And back to what I said earlier is probably just not comparing yourself, because I feel like that's just going to set you up for failure. You know, you are friends with successful agents. You're like, well, why am I not there yet? And I feel like that already kind of puts you behind. So, you know, always setting the bar a little high and setting your goals.
Yeah.
Especially if your type of personality doesn't thrive off of that comparison. Like I would be like you, like it makes me feel worse if I'm not hitting that versus like some people it motivates you.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, like I walked onto a successful team, you know, I didn't necessarily have to help her build it. So she was already successful without me. And, you know, so people were thinking that I was going to walk onto her team and bring 7 million my first year. So that was just like additional pressure that like, I was like, oh, do I really want to do this?
Pressure you put on yourself.
Yeah. No, you never put it on me ever. It was just, you know, I've always been the little sister. I've always worked with her, you know, and so it just was that pressure that I put on myself, and then would do it as, you know, with other agents as well. But it's because I looked up to her. You know, I always thought she was, you know, I can't cuss on here, but, you know, she rocked at real estate. And so I was really proud to be on her team. And it just added pressure to me. So,
you're amazing.
Okay, well, she was a badass.
There you go. There you go. Say it. Come on.
That's the first. Yeah, I'll be the first one to say I was always very proud of her, and so
I'm very proud of you. It's done amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So looking back at maybe like your first year in real estate, like you mentioned, like I get my license, I have my first year, like I'm nervous. Like I think there's an element of like imposter syndrome within all of us, right? At times, right? And there's insecurities, there's doubts, there's, you know, you name it, right? Because I don't know if you've ever had this before, but you're like, you see on Facebook, someone posted they just bought a house and it was with someone
It's like
that's not you, right?
Mhm.
How painful that is, that can be.
Yeah.
Definitely been there before, and you're like, gosh, I thought for sure it's me, right?
Yep.
And for one reason or another, like you have to choose to like take the high road, not take it personally, and go find another client, right?
Yep.
What's your like? How do you handle those scenarios of like insecurity, doubt, or just disappointment within the industry? Because it's a roller coaster of emotions, right?
Yes, it really
in
is.
this industry. So how do you handle that?
So I would say that I've evolved. My husband at one point put it into perspective that like somebody had posted on Facebook that they had bought a house. And I like legit didn't even know this person, but they were maybe like a friend of a friend. And I was highly offended they didn't use me. And Tony's like, I don't think you've ever even had a conversation with this person. And so I think you're just Facebook friend. Right. So I think that kind of put into perspective that like there's enough business for everyone and that like you can't be for everyone. So I think that was after a couple of years of being in the business. You know, it kind of was just because I knew of someone didn't mean that they were going to use me. So putting that into perspective of like, I shouldn't be offended, as well as like we've had the discussion when people, you know, we thought were going to use us or something changed. It was God's way of protecting us from something or, you know, whether it was going to be a headache or something better was coming. So we've had that discussion a lot.
You know, and it's not personal, it's business. Well, it is sometimes personal because it is your business. You know, they can be separate, but they're also very intertwined when it is your business. So it's just kind of separating the two. And like Haley said, you know, changing it to a positive thing down the road, be like, that's why it didn't work out. And that's okay.
Yeah. And showing humility whenever it does happen, I think goes a long way too.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
You know, if it was someone that you are really upset that they didn't use you, you can always ask them like, hey, I'm so happy for you. So if you just bought a house, like, how'd you find the agent that you were working with, right? Or, you know, what was that experience like, right? Just getting perspective on that.
Absolutely.
I feel like that helps you grow as an agent, you know, if you know those things.
Yeah.
And I think too, we've kind of really come to the realization, unless you're in sales, you don't really realize, at least I didn't. So educating like our clients that when they're in a room full of people and talking about maybe their friend is buying, like us to automatically be that, like basically coaching them for their mindset to be that. Whereas like we've been in the business long enough now where if somebody says something about a pool or whatever industry, it could be an
painter.
Immediately we're like, do you have someone? But like the general population who's just a W-2 doesn't think like that. So I think, I think we've tried to, that helps it sting a little bit less if somebody doesn't use us, I think too, because we're like, you know what? They probably really didn't necessarily do it maliciously. It's just they didn't think about it. But then in return, we've talked about educating our clients on what that really looks like, that referral system of how important it is.
And if you're continuing to get like our postcards and that kind of thing, and your best friend just got into real estate, you know, we understand that, you know, and if you're just be like, hey, I just want to give you the heads up, you know, if so-and-so got their real estate license, I think we're going to use them. Like, we understand. It's better than being blindsided by it, you know?
Yeah. The blindsided hurts worse than just upfront.
The average person, I think, knows 13 agents. So it's like, how do you stay top of mind? Right. For the people that don't have literally a direct relative that's sitting
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So looking at the business that you built, what are you most proud of?
I think being a working mom, but being present. I want to show my kids that I always say, while it'll be hard, that they can have it all, as well as growing up. I think just a different time. We didn't have those conversations of like what entrepreneurship looked like or the way that, I don't want to say real life worked, but I feel like being in real estate has really opened my eyes just in general to the world as an adult, I guess. But having those conversations with my kids. So like my daughter, Lottie, like she's very much an entrepreneur mindset. So, and she asks questions that I wouldn't have probably asked in high school, but she listens to my husband and I talk business. Yeah. So I would say that I want to set my kids up to be whatever they want to be by starting it young. And then that way they have all the opportunity in the world. And I don't think I would have had that mindset or been able to give them that opportunity had I not built a business that I was proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine is mostly just kind of overcoming that imposter syndrome, because in the very beginning, you know, I got my license in 2019. Our dad passed away in 2020. So like my role between the two of us truly was staying in Cape with my mom. I was getting married in September. And so truly my first like probably year and a half, 2 years, I really wasn't present on our team, you know, so whenever we would get these awards or something, being the Haley Spencer team, I very much felt like it wasn't me. You know what I mean? So like overcoming that imposter syndrome and like actually having people that I've brought on to our team client wise, like gaining some confidence, because in the very beginning, you know, I didn't have a lot of confidence in this industry. So, you know, growing little by little, and now having my daughter Hollis, you know, I want her to look at me like I looked at Haley in real estate and be like, well, my mom's a badass, you know, like I want that for me. So I think just overcoming, you know, and just growing as an agent in general, you know, I'm proud of that.
Which you should be. You're completely different. Like you can see the growth big time.
Okay, so outside of real estate, like what are some things that you all enjoy doing that you've incorporated kind of into, okay, this is actually a way that I could grow my business through as well?
Well, if you didn't know, we're going pro in pickleball.
Let's go. Okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding. We got our butts kicked by like 65-year-olds. So very humbling.
Closer to like 80.
Yeah.
So they don't listen to this podcast. They might be offended.
Age is only enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we try to do a lot of things like not outdoorsy, but like pickleball, or I'm a big runner.
I am not.
She's running.
I'm running. Yes, somebody's chasing me.
Yeah.
So we should be running too.
Yeah. We do a lot of things with like mom groups outside of, you know, real estate that has nothing to do with business. But I would say we're trying to implement actually having some fun, you know, like making it a set time during the week that we go and play pickleball, regardless of if it has anything connection wise, but just to do something fun.
Yeah.
Because I think for a while we didn't do anything.
No. But also, it doesn't always feel like work whenever you're working with your best friend. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like a day could be very...
Days are easier.
They are. Yeah. Yeah. Especially because, you know, we would ride together and we would have the conversations of, you know, if an inspection notice didn't go how we thought it might, like we could talk that out, and it'd be us bouncing ideas off of each other and it not just be one of us weighing that so heavily. So like, yeah, I feel like we have a lot of good days, a lot of fun days to where it doesn't feel like work. But the pickleball thing, yeah.
And we really do feel like we should have a reality TV series. I mean, we think we're funnier than what we are. We really are funny. So there are times...
This is a start of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Right here. This is the genesis
Oh
of
my gosh.
the podcast.
Oh, ask us what your goal is now.
Have our own podcast.
Yeah. I was just thinking reality TV.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm funny.
I am too.
That's what you brainstorm on the ride home.
Yeah. Yes.
Names for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to have a good name.
Yes.
You got to have a good name.
So true.
Okay, so last question. What's the most impactful book, podcast, show that you've watched, listened to, read that has had an impact on your business or just personal development?
You can go first.
My favorite podcast that I listen to is The Hustle Humbly. I feel like listening to that has also given me good ideas, help build my confidence, because they can, you know, they kind of go over like hard transactions, how to handle it. They're funny, you know, so there will be days where I'll listen to, I don't even know, probably like 10 of them. Yeah. You know, and I re-listened to them. So, I mean, that's probably my favorite like real estate podcast to listen to. I also like true crime. So
one end of the spectrum to the other. I actually have 2 books, and I'm not a reader, but I have 2 books that I really like. And then one podcast aside from Hustle Humbly is called The Marketing Girls. And they both were real estate back, I don't know, maybe like 2014, 2015. And they got out of it and are just marketing now for real estate agents. So they have like both of that perspective. And so I really enjoy listening to them. Very similar to Hustle Humbly, but more so on like the marketing or the Instagram, that just to help with ideas. And then the 2 books that I really like is, one of them is called Slay Like a Mother. And it is very much about getting out of your own head and prioritizing yourself, because if you don't do that, you're not going to bring your best self for everybody else. And then I am big into the Enneagram right now. And so there is a book when I figured out my number that I ordered, and it literally just, I'm a 3.
A 3.
What are you?
I have no idea. I'm guessing a 3. That's like the achiever, right?
It is.
Yes.
I gave a talk at a networking event about this yesterday. I love it. But
You'll have to send me the
test.
test or whatever.
yes, I will. But that basically broke down like who I am as a person and what my strengths and weaknesses are, but also like when I get to be an unhealthy, like the workaholic and how you like overcome that. So it kind of just helped put it into perspective.
Yeah.
So I've liked that. Yeah. You should read the one you are that I tried to get you to read. Aren't you a 2?
Well, I was a 3 the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Second, then I took it again and I was a 2. So I don't know. Just well-rounded, I guess. I don't know. Just
Awesome. Real quick, let's touch on like being moms in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Like talk about the joys of that, the challenges of that, and kind of I think moms are literal like superhumans. Like it is incredible. Like
Thank you.
our wife Rachel, I see her with our daughter Palmer, and it's so fun to watch. Like she's literally a superhuman. Like I could never stay at home, be a full-time stay at home, like anything.
Yes.
It's like if she goes out for like a couple hours, I'm like out of activities in like 10 hours. I'm like, what are we gonna do?
Is it nap time yet?
I'm like, Palmer, what are we gonna do? Like, mom's got to get back home. This is crazy, right? So, talk to me about that. Like, what comes to mind whenever you think of being a mom in real estate?
Well, first of all, I love that you like show appreciation towards your wife. Being a wife and being a mom, like that is what actually keeps us going as moms and wives when we have a supportive system behind us. So like kudos to you. Yes, your wife is very lucky in that sense. Now I don't even know where I was going with that. Being a working mom, it can definitely be challenging, especially so we work together. Her husband hired my husband 5 years ago. So our husbands worked together. A very demanding job. So, we'll take kids with us to showings and you know how that goes. So
I think I've always said like the kids were born into our life. We weren't born into theirs. So like ours have always just gone along. And I think too, it's also helped shape them, one, that they've seen mom have a good work ethic, and that in order to have nice things, we have to put that time in. So like they understand the concept of work and what that means, as well as like goal setting kind of, like they can see all that we do, or if we get asked to speak at something, like we have those conversations. So like when I come home, Lottie would maybe ask me like how that presentation went. So I feel like they were born into the real estate or construction world, that they know so much more than we did at that age.
It's shaping them at a young age.
Yeah. Because I don't know that at 7 or almost 7, I was thinking about what type of business I was going to run, and, like just those kind of things. I don't even know what I was thinking at 7, but, Lottie runs a little ice cream, whatever. She sold ice cream and made like $60. She asked for a cotton candy machine so that she could do cotton candy and popcorn, like an upgrade to a lemonade stand. And I'm thinking, I didn't think like that at 7.
She's smart though.
She is.
That's awesome. So impressive. Well, I've enjoyed just following you all along, and it's really cool to just see the business that you built, and
thank you.
Definitely in your corner, rooting for your success and continued success. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yep.
Especially knowing how nervous I was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, your mic was down, so maybe nobody heard you anyway, right?
You're so right.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Well, thank you for watching, everybody, online, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.